Hi guys, if you're new here to React with Jesse, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button as well so it pushes this video out amongst the masses. And let's get right into it by reading a couple of these comments. Jarena Blackwell says, definitely something. All right, that's a good sign. And then Laura closes it out with, if you make it big, it looks like a lady standing in a doorway. That's what my last girlfriend used to tell me. Let's hear what this video is all about.
Look right here. Look right here. Right here. Look, watch. What is that? What is that? And it's just gone, bro. Look at it's
That's
there,
a little baby.
and now it's not. It's there,
What is that?
and now it's not, bro. What is that?
Here's a fine coin from 1587, and really giving us a good and clear idea of how advanced the old world was. 1587, we see a cathedral, an amazing building, minted on a coin, all sorts of amazing antiquity. And how could it be? How could these people of the 1500s erect such glorious structures? Let's look at the other side of the coin. Look at this city. What is going on here in the 1500s? And these are the kinds of cities we're seeing depicted on the old map we were looking at. Absolutely splendid. This is a taste of the old world.
Guys, are you more fascinated with modern technology, or do you actually find ancient technology a little bit more fascinating? I find ancient technology fascinating, especially when you look at like wristwatches and stuff. Amazing craftsmanship.
These are contact lenses that let you see in the dark. They're like night vision goggles without needing the goggles. And it gets even crazier because these lenses let you see even when your eyes are completely closed. It's pretty insane. Now, this was a massive breakthrough by a research lab in China. And the way it all works is super interesting. The contacts are coated with special nanoparticles that absorb infrared light. That's the part of the spectrum our human eyes can't normally see. But here's the big innovation. Those nanoparticles can then convert that invisible light into visible waves that we can see, essentially letting us see in the dark. Now, the contacts are clear, so you can still see normally, but you also have this super secret power to read hidden messages. And here's where it gets even crazier. The people that tried these said it was even easier to read secret messages when their eyes were closed. So in theory, someone could transmit an invisible message, and as long as you were facing in their direction, even if your eyes were closed, you could read it. Pretty insane. The Chinese lab said the first version of these is only going to cost $200.
Wow. Okay, so for $200, you can see at night, right? And you can even see with your eyes closed. So here's my question for you. If these contact lenses enable us to see in the dark, then is it just something that you're wearing, or is it actually our next little jump of evolution as humans? Because if this is what we have from this point going forward, we're going to be able to see in the dark. Pretty neat. Whoa. I've seen cats jump so many crazy directions. It's probably just
You
a
think
cat.
you're ready for everything until you see the toilet in China's
Guys, when I was in high school, we actually had toilets that were like outdoors and stuff, or they were indoors, but there was no door on the toilet, and they made us go to the bathroom in that crazy bathroom with no doors. It seems really nuts. Would you guys be willing to go to the restroom like this in public?
It rained diamonds on sand, bro. We just go there and get like VVS, like VVS just follow on like VVS and space VVS different. You know what I'm saying?
So I'm saying like, but like, can you get away with that like down here?
Hell no, boy. Get what? Everybody eyes can see in ultraviolet, so we see that like, boy, that ain't there. Boy, that's silver, boy.
So really we are light.
Yeah, but I'm trying to tell you,
They
look.
capping up there, they capping out here.
Yeah, but I'm just space you. You know what I'm saying? I'm you, but just in
So
space.
what you got? One more question. In space, y'all got Section 8.
Hell yeah, it's a bro. Get what? But get what? It's the whole planet, bro.
Reacting to the world, but your brain is actually predicting
planet.
it before it even happens. Your brain isn't just a passive receiver of reality. It's a prediction machine. Every second, it guesses what's coming next based on your past. Before you even open your eyes, your brain predicts what you'll see. When someone speaks, your brain finishes their sentence. Before they do, it fills in gaps, corrects mistakes, and builds a version of the world it expects. not necessarily the one that's real. That's why two people can live the same moment, but remember it completely differently, because perception isn't reality, it's prediction.
All right, let's read some of these pondering thoughts here. If your brain isn't wired to predict the future, then why does it prepare your body for danger before you even know what's coming? That's true. Sometimes you go in an area and your body and gut are just telling you, get the heck out of here. The second point here says if your brain didn't have predictive powers, then why do you flinch before the punch lands? I noticed that the other day. I was watching some UFC fights, and it seems like even when a quick punch out of nowhere comes, it's like you can see a fighter's face kind of flinch last second. It is kind of amazing.
It's prediction.
People, it's happening again. They hit Russia with the mud flood. Oh, you son of a bitch. Now, I didn't think I was going to be alive long enough to see this. This is mud flood. This is mud flood. For all those people who didn't believe me, I told y'all. This is going on right now in Russia.
That looks terrifying.
If you can't stop them one way, just send in the mud flood. And Pakistan, they're also being hit with the mud flood.
That looks great.
What is going on? This one seems to be mixed with something that made it look like cement.
Sometimes you watch these YouTube videos and they'll talk about DARPA and HARP, and it's like, I think the future of warfare is going to be where other countries can unleash a tsunami on you, or flooding type rains, right? Where it just rains nonstop for days and maybe even weeks on end. I would love to know your guys' thoughts down below. All right, let's read one of these comments here from Apple Anton. Says, you noticed all of the evil places are getting hit. Texas is a racist state and a hateful state, and we all know that Russia is ruled by the devil's son. So my thoughts after this is the Orange Man is next on the list. Run, Donald, run!
People, the world is changing. Are we gonna survive?
I'm fascinated by the human body in general and like all of the things that it's capable of. And when I found out we could survive so many weeks without food, I was like, okay, I'll try a couple days. You know, I was supposed to do 2 days. You know, I got to the third day. By the third day, I was like, okay, I'll do a fourth day. By that fourth day, my body, all my channels, everything was just so open and it was so clear. I came right out of that, and immediately all of the song ideas started. I just started receiving these gifts from the Universal Library up there.
You actually came up with this record after doing a 4-day water fast?
What's the longest you guys have ever fasted? And if you guys did fast, did you have unbelievable success with it, or was it kind of, let me know.
Made by a Japanese neurologist and is an indication of your current stress levels. If the image is essentially still, you're very calm. If it's moving a little, you're slightly stressed. And if it's moving a lot, you are very stressed. Let me know below how much it's moving for you and if it does seem to be correlated to your stress level. The description has the science behind this, which you may want to check out.
It was completely still for me.
Ismail Azizi from Tanzania has reportedly been declared medically dead by doctors on 6 separate occasions, but has come back to life every single time, and no one can explain how. In a recent documentary by Afromax, they report that the first time he died was after a workplace accident. He was taken to the hospital in critical condition, and soon after, doctors declared him dead, not some randoms off the street. His body was taken to the morgue while his family started preparing his funeral. But to their bewilderment, he regained consciousness and walked out of the morgue onto the street like he was taking a nap. And that was only round 1. He died again after catching malaria, but this time he made it all the way to the coffin before yet again waking up at his own funeral. Now this became a literal cycle for years. Death 3 was after a car accident where he collided with a fuel tank and put him in a coma. But like clockwork at this point, after being pronounced dead by medical professionals again, he woke up. And at this point, even the doctors were getting freaked out. Death 4 was after he got bit by a venomous snake, but this time he spent a whopping 3 days in the morgue. And that really convinced his family that Ishmael was gone for good this time. But no, because when they went to go retrieve his body for his 4th funeral, he woke up again. Now, after his 5th death, he fell into a toilet pit. His community started getting a little scared, and they became convinced beyond reasonable doubt that he was a witch or a ghost. So you know what they decided to do? Burn his house down with him inside to try and kill him for the 6th and final time. And guess what? They were successful. Until he woke up again. Bro, I'd be scared too. I couldn't die. And now, after all of this, he has to live in an isolated old house with no neighbors. Because apparently, he's a bit of a local legend and people are too scared to live near him. He also said he can't get a job either as a result of the stigma.
All right, so let's think about this real quick. Earlier, they showed him in a Chinese t-shirt. Wouldn't that be crazy if China was doing some experiment out there and he was one of the guinea pigs and they're actually finding a way to reanimate people potentially for warfare? That's where my mind goes on this. Another thing is, I think biblically there's supposed to be a guy that walks the earth that's immortal or eternal or lives forever, something like that. If you guys know what I'm trying to conjure up in my mind, let me know down below. I think also in the Mormon faith, there's like an eternal guy that walks the earth.
Because apparently he's a bit of a local legend and people are too scared to live near him. He also said he can't get a job either as a result of the stigma.
I don't believe it's a UFO cover-up. I believe that it's a time travel cover-up. My father, we had the documents. We don't have them anymore on the Philadelphia experiment. Einstein worked on it. My father did reveal that. And I just don't believe, I have said at a very important meeting about time travel. They wanted to know what my father knew and such like that. I have stated my issues, that there is no future and there is no past. There's only now. And the way that I think of it is very simple. As a computer, there are icons. You know your birth, you know your mother, and you know your birthdays, you know when your child was born, and each one is a picture within the brain. Well, the way that time works is those icons are sideways. There is no future, there is no past. There's only the memory of those icons. And can you draw from them as a human being? Yes, you can. But there are those that cannot do that. So if the ET would land here, he would have that ability, and it would segregate our society. See, there are other issues besides religion involved. There's the mental parts that are involved. I don't know if that's hard to follow or what, but these are the type of mind games that need to be played to understand why they do not reveal themselves to the masses. Why should we measure time? We know we go on after our death. We know we were somewhere before our death. My thinking is that human existence is just a coffee break.
Is human existence just a coffee break? In other words, is it just a little bleep in time in the lives of immortals? If it is, then this literally probably is a video game that we just walked into some sort of heavenly mall and decided to play, right? Because if you're immortal, even 80-year periods would seem like the blink of an eye. And by the way, as I get older, I feel like time is speeding up. If you feel that same phenomena, let me know. And here's a rhetorical question for you to ponder. If we ever find out that time travelers do exist, are they going to be time travelers from the future, or are we actually going to meet time travelers from the past?
Inside this tank, we can make meat without any animals being killed. And it's not vegan. This is actual real meat. This tank is called a cultivator. Inside of it, there's a liquid made up of food that a farm animal eats, mixed with water. And if we take a farm animal like a chicken and gather cells from it and put it inside, the microscopic nutrients start feeding the cells. And different types of farm animals have different cells, so the way we mix the nutrient liquid together varies depending on the type of meat you want to make. It's this motion that helps the cells stay active like they would when a farm animal moves around. To finish the process, we keep the cells warm and give them time to grow naturally. And then we recreate what happens in an animal's body. The cells grow and slowly become meat. This cultivator is just the beginning of an insane process that can make an unlimited amount of real meat without animals.
Even if they could make actual chicken meat that tasted like chicken meat, I think I'm going to pass. I would love to know what your guys' thoughts are. I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
A third of the Buddhist monks at a temple in northern Thailand have tested positive for 6 out of 18 monks at Wat Protham in Pijit province were disrobed after failing surprise tests during a police raid on Monday. Officers also found pills, a homemade and bullets hidden in the temple. The 6 monks were kicked out of the monkhood.
NASA faked the Challenger shuttle explosion. Well, there are plenty of reasons, but we'll get to that. So the theory is that the Challenger shuttle crew who unfortunately lost their lives in the explosion in 1986 have all been found alive and well today.
Are you Michael Smith? Yeah. Are you aware of that there's a rumor on the internet that people are saying...
Yeah, it's not me, obviously.
What press?
I'm from a radio station in San Bernardino. I know there's a conspiracy about the space shuttle.
So while these two have apparently been found, Judy Resnick and Michael Smith, both working as professors, Richard Scobie, formerly Francis Richard Scobie, runs a marketing agency that has a very peculiar logo, somewhat eerily similar to the Challenger explosion smoke trails. Now, these two astronauts, Ronald McNair and Ellison Onizuka, both apparently had twins. Okay, the odds of that seem fairly high, but whatever. But apparently neither of the two now living twins have any birth records. Now, here's the memorial service for the Challenger crew, and this is the family of Ellison Onizuka, but his twin brother Claude Onizuka is nowhere to be found. And here is the family of Ronald McNair, but also missing is his twin brother Carl. So getting back to the matter at hand, why would NASA fake this?
The Challenger, when it exploded, was empty. They did it as a trauma-based thing, a psyops, to get trauma to all Americans.
These two engineers, Alan McDonald and Robert Boyce Jolly, warned against the Challenger launch. They worked for the company that supplied the rocket boosters for the space shuttle. They both raised serious concerns about the safety of launching the space shuttle during such cold temperatures that were happening at the time. But their warnings were ultimately ignored. The theory suggests that NASA chose to stage a dramatic tragedy in order to divert the public's attention away from anything political that, say, could have been going on at the time. Another interesting theory is that the shuttle crew was actually assigned to a completely different top-secret mission, and that the shuttle explosion was just a cover-up to remove them from the public eye. Another theory is that, by faking a highly emotional, unifying moment, NASA could reinforce support for space shuttle funding and shift the attention away from the potential flaws of the space shuttle program.
I love those videos, especially the last one on NASA and stuff. I've actually kind of took a dive down the rabbit hole with the NASA thing, and the people that they have interviewed look just like the people that supposedly perished on the Challenger. So one of two things is either happening. Either they really were on some sort of secret mission and they are still very much alive, or there are just some amazingly similar looking doppelgangers out there. And I would love to know what you think it is. Is it just a look-alike? It probably is. Guys, I love watching videos with you. If you don't mind, hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. And then I'll see you again next week with another myriad of videos together. Yay! Okay, have a great day. I'll see you then.